بسم الله وبه بدينا ولو عبدنا غير مشركين وبدنا الله بدينا اللهم صل على محمد كل ما ذكر ذاكرين صل على محمد كل ما غفل عن ذكر الغافلين. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أصاب أحدكم مصيبة فليذكر مصيبته بي فإنها من أعظم المصائب. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that if any of you is afflicted with any kind of difficulty, then you should remember that great difficulty, that disaster of him losing me. For indeed, that is the greatest of all possible disasters. That in life, whether it's financial, you lose something, it's only human that you feel distressed. Or you lose a dear one, your mother, a child, your wife, your husband, whatever the case might be. It's only natural as a human that you feel something. If you don't feel something, you are not human. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the fact that you have lost me, that you will not see the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this world, that is the greatest possible disaster for a mu'min. So a test of Iman, if you lost anything, you should remember the loss of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If your worldly loss is greater to you than the loss of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is something very, very much wrong with your faith. But if the fact that we have lost Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the greatest possible disaster possible in your life, then indeed you are a mu'min. We discussed the beginning stages of the illness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In Ṣafar of the 11th year of Hijrā, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam fell very ill. Aisha radhiyallahu anha, Umm was complaining that her head was very sore, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "No, my head, my head." In other words, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's pain was much, much more intense than Aisha radhiyallahu anha. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam grew steadily worse in his condition, weaker. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, having several wives, would spend each night with a different mother of the believers. That night Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with our mother Maymūnah radiallahu anha, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not feel in the condition to be moving house to house. So he indicated, where will I spend, where will I be? And the other wives understood Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to stay one place, the house of Aisha anha, and they consented to this. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to be carried, he was leaning on Faḍl bin ʿAbbās radiallahu anhu. His feet was dragging on the ground as he went from the house of Maymūnah to the house of Aisha radiallahu anha. So weak was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so weak, he could no longer lead the salah, and he pointed our Amir al-Mu'mineen Abū Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu as the Imām of the Muslims. One day, the Ansar were gathering outside the house of Aisha and they were weeping. Abū Bakr asked, "Why are you weeping?" And they said, "Why should we not be weeping? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is departing from us. We are remembering our times with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we will not see this anymore. So that's why we are weeping." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so weak and in so much distress, but hearing of the distress of the Ansar, that was worse to him. He could not get up on his own, so two Sahaba had to carry him. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tied a cloth around his head tightly because of the intense headache that he had. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered the masjid for the final time. He got into the minbar for the last time, and his final khutbah was, "Inni usikum bil ansar, al ansar aibati wa karishi, qad qada alladhi alayhim wa baqi alladhi lahum, faqbulu min musnihim wa tajawazu min musihim." I leave you my final instructions regarding the Ansar. The Ansar are my friends and my helpers. Whatever they promised, they fulfilled, and there remains now for them nothing but reward. Whatever good they do, you accept from them. Whatever mistakes they do, you overlook this. This was the status of the Ansar, the helpers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when he was in his final illness, he could not forget them, and he tolerated his own pain, but not the pain of the Ansar. Up till that point, there were several houses attached to the masjid, and they had a door going directly into the masjid. At that time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered all those doors to be sealed except for the door of Abū Bakr as-Siddiq. Such was his status. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, to the meaning that whatever any of you have done for me, I have fulfilled. But what Abū Bakr has done, I cannot fulfill. I leave that in the hands of Allah. And Abū Bakr wept and said, Ya Rasulullah, whatever I own, is that not belonging to you in any case? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam became steadily weakened. The last time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was seen in public was the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, of the 11th year of Hijrā, Fajr Salah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam removed the curtain of ʿAishah radhiyallahu anha into the masjid, and the Sahaba saw the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the final time. And how happy was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those same people who were worshipping idols were now worshipping the one Allah through his efforts. The same people used to fight like cats and dogs were now standing together like brothers through his efforts. How happy was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that moment, and how is the condition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam today if our deeds are presented to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Aisha radhiyallahu anha says, just before that, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, what is there left? And she said there is, the maximum narration says, 9 dirhams, 9 silver pieces, which today is roughly equal to 214 rand. Total wealth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he left this world, 214 rand in today's currency. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, how can I meet Allah with this? Give that away. And Aisha radhiyallahu anha says, the night Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left this world, I did not have oil to put in the lamp to light the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That was the state of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That morning of the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam approaching Zawal time, it steadily weakened. The head of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in the lap of our mother Aisha radhiyallahu anha. And amongst the final acts that is recorded of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that Aisha's brother Abdurrahman, he comes into the house and he's got a miswak. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looks at it with longing. So Aisha radhiyallahu anha takes the hint, she takes it, she softens it, and she helps Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam make miswak. That is the importance of miswak. Amongst probably the final thing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did in this world. But when he's finished, he's so weak, he cannot hold the miswak, it drops down to the ground. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives his final command to this ummah: as-salah, as-salah, wa ma malakat aymanukum, wa akhrijul yahud wa nasara min jaziratil arab. Guard your salah, guard your salah. Be kind to those under your control, and expel the Christians and the Jews from the Arabian Peninsula. The first two, of course, is well within our control. The last one might not be in our control, but still we can ask how much of the lifestyle of, if the Christians and the Jews are not allowed in the Arabian Peninsula, how much worse that their lifestyle has entered our lives and entered our hearts. And how disgraceful that in 14 centuries of Islamic history, various madhahib, various nations, even Shia have ruled Makkah, and absolutely nobody ever allowed the Christian and Jews to re-enter the Arabian Peninsula, except in our time that we have this disgraceful government which rules the Haramain in our time. May Allah remove them from the Haramain. May Allah remove the Jews from Jerusalem and the Saudi family from Makkah and Mukarramah. May Allah give our ulama the courage to speak the truth about the evils that's being done in the Haramain to the birthplace of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The final words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as he rests his head in the lap of a mother Aisha radiallahu anha, Allahumma ar-Rafiq al-A'la. O Allah, you are my companion most high. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam leaves for his eternal rest. May Allah grant him the highest of stages and us tawfiq to follow in his sunnah. Subhanallah bihamdi subhanallah.